Hello, everybody, and welcome back once again to Command Point. My name's Ryan. Today I'm here with Shane.
Hello.
And Shane, today we are looking at the new Legionary Chaos Space Marine Kill Team from the Nakmund Kill Team box set. I've been playing Heretic Astartes for a while now in this edition of Kill Team, and I like them, but they're certainly not the best. So let's take a look at the operatives here, and I guess like how this kill team is made up. What separates the Legionary kill team from the regular Trader Space Marine kill team?
Well, to me, there's a lot of similarities. For starters, it's just like the six Chaos Marine kill team from the compendium. This is a six operative Marine kill team. So the difference is being really is that kind of like in the case of a lot of the other bespoke teams, there's a lot of different models to choose from, and they all have their own unique abilities. It seems to me. And on top of that, like the other bespoke teams, there is a specific flavor. In this case, the marks of chaos, which we'll get into. But I guess for starters, they can take outside of their faction tac ops, which we'll talk about later. They can take security and seek and destroy. And then the kill team itself is made up of you pick one leader, whether it's the legionary chosen or the legionary aspiring champ, and then five operatives from the following list, which includes just the basic legionary warrior, legionary gunner, a legionary heavy gunner, a legionary icon bearer, and then the anointed butcher, Bailfire acolyte, and Shrive Talon. So basically, you make a team of six out of that. And right off the bat, it seems a lot better than what you get from Heretic Astartes. There's a lot more customization here.
It seems like this is just kind of the six Marines, except they're simply better, which is how most of these newer teams are coming out.
Yeah, and I guess we should talk about the marks of chaos probably. Basically, when you add one of these operatives to your roster or data slate, you choose one of the keywords and select a mark of chaos keyword to be attached to that model on the roster. And unlike with other selectable keywords, you can have different marks of chaos throughout your roster. So you're not just limited to one. You don't just have to have all Khorne or something. So the marks that you can choose are Khorne, Nurgle, Slaanesh, Tzeentch, and Undivided. And the only limitations really for the roster is that you can't have Khorne and Slaanesh on the same roster, and you can't have Nurgle and Tzeentch on the same roster. So you can go like Khorne Nurgle, Khorne Tzeentch, or Slaanesh Nurgle, Slaanesh Tzeentch, but you can't combine those ones specifically. So this sounds a lot like last edition, kind of what Heretic Astartes could do with the marks. Yeah, and in last edition, all of the marks gave special abilities and special like tactics you could use. In this edition, it's kind of the same, except I think they push the idea a little bit further. So I guess we can go and take a look at the actual abilities you get from these marks.
Yeah, let's take a look at those.
So starting at the top, the Khorne mark. So basically, whenever you fight in combat, in the resolve successful hits part, if you didn't crit at all with any attacks, you can use one of your normal hits as if it were a crit. So basically, this means that you are always going to be critting with your Khorne melee models. So that's a pretty big ability right there. So right off the bat, you want to take Khorne possibly on your melee models. It's kind of pointing you in a direction that way.
So the next one here for Nurgle, Disgusting Vigor. Each time a shooting attack is made against this operative in the roll defense dice step of that shooting attack, you can retain one normal save as a crit save. That is really good.
Yeah. No, I mean, like if you're in cover, for instance, you're basically getting a free crit save potentially.
Yeah.
Um, that's I think for these elite teams, these teams with less bodies, I think durability is like so integral to them being good that I think something like Nurgle could be really helpful potentially going forward.
Yeah.
And then there's Slaanesh. So basically, this one's simple. You just add 1 inch to the operative's movement characteristic. So this means they move 7 inches, they charge 9 inches. They're just faster than your average model. This is a really nice ability, I'm sure. I mean, I've seen like with move for Imperial Guard, having that extra inch can be, I mean, really big. It really just a lot of people are not used to like checking how far a model can go and anticipating 7 inches. It's always 6 inches or 4 inches.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty nice ability, I think.
We've got Tzeentch Imperial Guidance. I think that's how you say that. Each time this operative makes a shooting attack in the roll attack dice step of that shooting attack, you can retain one of your attack dice results of 5 up that is a critical hit as a, or excuse me, one of your attack dice results of 5 up that is a successful hit as a critical hit.
It's like Let the Galaxy Burn, but it's built into any model with the Tzeentch ability that is shooting. So that's really interesting. So it's only shooting, but it's built in. So that's really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. And then there's Undivided. So each time this operative fights in combat or makes a shooting attack, if you're within 6 inches of the target, you get a free reroll. Really simple, really basic, but nice. And then the other part of these marks that's important is listed under the Favored of the Dark Gods ability. So basically, once per turning point, when it is your turn to use a strategic ploy, if you have any friendly operatives with the Favorite of the Dark Gods ability, which we'll get into later, you can use a strategic ploy without spending any CP on say you have a Khorne guy with the Favorite of the Dark Gods ability, you can use a Khorne strategic ploy for free that turn if you want.
Mm.
And the same goes for any of the others. So it's kind of like having a free ploy from like your leader for like Imperial Guard or something like that with like the orders. So, I mean, that's pretty interesting. And if you have the Undivided keyword on a model with that ability, you can use Hateful Assault or Malicious Volleys for free.
Yeah, I'm just
And
trying
then,
to think in a vacuum here, which of these 5 I would probably I would want to be running. Obviously, you can't combine Khorne and Slaanesh and Nurgle and Tzeentch.
I think it
Myself,
depends
yeah,
on what the ploys can do too, right? I think
yes,
that has to
yeah.
be a big idea
Mm-hmm.
because we'll look at the ploys in a moment. So basically, each one of the marks, like Khorne, Nurgle, Tzeentch, and Slaanesh, have 2 strategic plays and 1 tactical play attached to it. So that's a lot of different ploys for one team. So I mean, we can take a look starting at the strategic plays. We already know what Hateful Assaults and Malicious Volleys are. But let's take a look at the Khorne strategic plays, I guess, starting with Blood for the Blood God.
All right, so Blood for the Blood God is 1 CP until the end of the turning point each time a friendly Khorne operative fights in combat in the resolved successful hit step of that combat. If it performed a charge action during that activation, the first time it strikes, inflict 1 additional damage.
So I think Tyranids have something like this, like Feed or something.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Pretty interesting. I mean, it depends on the weapons that they have. I believe there is one model that does 4/7 damage, so you could potentially be doing an 8 damage crit if you're using Blood for the Blood God with that. So
That's
that's
nice.
yeah, that's insane. And then the other Khorne strategic play is Perpetual Aggression. So this one is, I think this one's going to need an errata or something. But I mean, let's look at it. So until the end of the turning point, each time after a friendly Khorne operative fights in combat, if it's not within engagement range of an enemy operative, it can make a move following the same rules as a normal move action with the following exceptions. It can only move up to 3 inches. It can move within engagement range of enemy operatives. And if it can, it must finish the move within engagement range of the closest visible enemy operative.
Wow.
So this is kind of like a consolidate from
Yeah,
last edition. There's just weirdness to it because it seems to me like if you charged in that turn, you're not allowed to do a normal move in a turn where you charge.
correct.
So it says you have to follow the same rules as a normal move, and it lists the exceptions. And it doesn't state that you can move if you charge that turn. So this doesn't feel like it's actually going to be very useful a lot of the time. It's only like if you start in combat and fight, or if something charges you. And I'm not sure about this one. I feel like it's meant to work that way, but there's going to be a lot of debate about this tactic.
Yeah, I think it'll have to get an errata, but the fact that it happens at the end of the turning point is, I mean,
That's
it
until
it
the end, yeah.
yeah. Or oh, okay, until the end of the turning point. Oh, and this is a
Yeah, I just don't.
strategic play too. Oh my God, yeah. Okay, this is a weird situation. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how it works
It'll
really,
it'll
but
have to get ironed out for sure.
Mhm. And then let's take a look at the first Nurgle ploy. This is one of my favorite ones in the group. Mutagenic Flesh. Until the end of the turning point, each time normal damage would be inflicted upon a friendly Nurgle operative, subtract 1 from the damage inflicted from that attack dice to a minimum of 2. So this is kind of like Aegis of the Emperor that Talons get, except it only, instead of reducing crit damage to normal damage, it just reduces normal damage by 1. And you
Mhm.
pair that with the fact that they're turning normal saves into crit saves, so they're stopping crits and they're taking normal damage 1 less. That seems like I like that one better than the 2 Khorne ones we just read personally,
Oh my gosh, it's going to be hard to kill these guys.
for sure. Which I think elite teams need to be hard to kill,
Yeah.
right? In this edition.
Yeah.
So the other one is Implacable. Do you want to take that one, Ryan?
Yeah, so until the end of the turning point, friendly Nurgle operatives are not treated as being injured, ignore all negative modifiers for their APL, ignore the worsening of their ballistic skill when performing an Overwatch action.
Yeah,
Hmm.
that seems pretty good, especially later into the game.
Yeah, late game, this is going to be really useful. I am personally leaning so hard into Nurgle right now. As
Yeah,
we're,
I'm
as we're
liking them a
going through
lot.
these are really good.
So let's just move on to the Slaanesh strategic plays now. So first we have Graceful Killer for 1 CP. Until the end of the turning point, add 1 to the critical damage characteristics of friendly Slaanesh operatives' melee weapons. This is okay. I mean, it's kind of like Blood for the Blood God, but it's not the first time and it's only crits. Again, kind of situational. I don't know how often you'll need that much damage, like multiple times, but I mean, it's a thing, I guess. It's an option for them.
Next up, we have Delicious Agony for 1 CP until the end of the turning point. Each time a friendly Slaanesh operative fights in combat in the resolve successful hit step of that combat, when you resolve your first successful hit, if the target is injured, you can resolve 2 of your successful hits instead of 1.
Hmm.
Kind of situational. The first round of combat, you're not going to be able to use this anyway, right? So it's like, or I mean, obviously assuming the model isn't injured. Yeah, it's
I mean,
pretty.
how often do you need 2 hits to kill an injured model in melee?
Not that often.
Yeah, not frequently. That doesn't seem too good to me.
No.
Seems a little overkill, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't
So
know.
looking at this team so far, it looks like Slaanesh is getting the short end of the stick. But let's move on
Mhm.
here to the Tzeentch strategic ploys. We got Protected by Fate here for 1 CP until the end of the turning point. Each time a shooting attack is made against a friendly Tzeentch operative in the roll defense dice step of that shooting attack, if you retain any critical saves, you can select one of your failed saves to be retained as a successful normal save. Another good defensive buff.
Yeah, that's solid.
Yeah,
Defensively, I mean, it doesn't seem as good to me as the Nurgle stuff, but
yeah. Do you think there's
it's
something to be said for the like the better shooting of Tzeentch models, and then you kind of have this to kind of protect those, or what do you think?
yeah, I think so. I mean, because obviously your Tzeentch models are going to be they're going to want to shoot, which means they're going to have to take return fire, presumably most of the time. So I could see that. And then we've got Etheric Ward.
Etheric. I don't know.
Until the end of the turning point, friendly Tzeentch operatives have a 4-up invulnerable save. I think that's really good.
Hey, that is really good.
Yeah, I mean, you're no longer just getting poofed by AP2.
I I feel like to get the most out of this kill team here, I'm jumping the gun ahead by a lot for sure. But I feel like you're getting more value from Tzeentch models than you would be from Nurgle models because you're getting the better shooting, and both of these buffs, or excuse me, both of these strategic ploys are good defensive buffs. So it's like you can kind of make up for that, you know, lack of durability with these, I guess.
Mhm. I mean, I guess it's interesting to think that obviously all of these only affect the mark that they have, except for the undivided one, which is hateful assault and malicious volleys, which will affect any model on your team. This is interesting. So I guess let's move on to the tactical plays because each one of these has their own tactical play, and then there's Veteran of the Long War, which is the basic, shoot again if you didn't do any damage tactical play. So Khorne has Unending Bloodshed. So basically, use this tactical play when a ready friendly Khorne operative is incapacitated in combat by an enemy operative. Before that friendly operative is removed from the kill zone, select one melee weapon it is equipped with and roll the attack dice as if it is the attacker fighting in combat. If the result is a successful hit, you can immediately strike an enemy operative within engagement range of it, then remove that friendly operative from the kill zone. So basically, when a model dies in combat, you can use this and roll one more attack dice and try to hit them on the way out,
Oh,
which is
okay.
pretty good. I mean,
Yeah.
it gets you value out of a model that's going away, which, I mean, you really need to squeeze every drop of value out of 6 models as you
Yeah.
can. So
So the next one we've got up here is Tzeentch, Mutability and Change. Use this tactical ploy during a friendly Tzeentch operative's activation. Add 1 to that operative's APL. Nothing really too fancy, but definitely valuable. Like we said previously, you want to squeeze as much value as you can out of your six model kill team. So increasing a single operative's APL, I mean that can be huge for you.
I just wonder how often you need 4 APL. I mean, I guess it's a tactical
I mean
play.
for yeah,
So
yeah. I mean for 6 models, just putting one on one of them, I think is pretty valuable.
okay, and then we have Malignant Aura. Use this tactical ploy during a friendly Nurgle operative's activation until the end of the turning point while an enemy operative is within 3 inches of that Nurgle operative. Subtract 1 from the defense characteristic of that enemy operative. So it's like a AP1 aura,
That's
kind of.
that's pretty good. So next up we have Sickening Captivation. Use this tactical play during a friendly Slaanesh operative's activation. Select one enemy operative visible to and within 3 inches of that Slaanesh operative. Subtract 1 from that enemy operative's APL.
So it's like a stun
Yeah,
where you just do it. You spend a CP and you stun someone near you.
I mean stun is good. Or is it 1 CP good?
It could be. I mean, when you think about it, it could, determine if you hold an objective or not.
Yeah,
If you do it on a guy that's already gone, or if you do it on a guy that has yet to go, then there's one less thing they can do.
I think there's going to have to be a lot of experimentation with this team.
Oh my goodness, for sure.
Yeah,
There's so much to
to try and
unpack here
figure
just with the
out.
marks.
Yeah.
I guess let's look at the models because there's a few of them. There's like 8. So right off the bat, there's the Legionary Warrior, which is just a basic guy. He gets a mark, nothing special here. There is the Gunner, which is just the same as the Plasma Gunner, or same as the, it might as well be a Plasma Gunner, but same as the Trader Marine Gunner, same options. You'll take a Plasma on this guy if you take him most of the time.
Yep.
There's the Heavy Gunner. The only difference between this and the Trader version is that he has access to the Reaper Chain Cannon, which is 6 shots hitting on 3s, damage 3/5, with Ceaseless, Fusillade, and Heavy. And I don't really know how. I don't know when you'd take this over a Heavy Bolter. It is 1 more shot. It does have Ceaseless, I suppose, but
Yeah.
it's 3/5 instead of 4/5. There's no P1. I don't know. Volume of shots could be helpful.
I think so. There's a lot of people that say that like Kill Team is a roll for crit style game,
Mhm.
which I think is somewhat accurate. So I mean, an additional shot, but I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
The heavy bolter is tried and true to be a proven mainstay of Heretic Astartes team. So I don't know if the Reaper chain cannon is enough there by itself.
Yeah. And then we have the Legionary Anointed, the first of a few melee specific models we're going to look at. So this model he's got a Demonic Claw, 5 attacks on 3s, damage 4/5 with Rending, which is a good profile. But really, the thing about this model is he has an ability called Unleash Demon. Basically, it's kind of funny the way this is worded. It says once per battle, when this operative is activated, the demon can take control.
Oh God, that sounds horrifying.
um, and then when you do, until the end of the battle, this guy cannot do Overwatch, pickup, shoot, or mission actions. He gets a 5 up, feel no pain. His Demonic Claw gets Ceaseless and Lethal 5. and it can fight twice. He just becomes like the Terminator. He can't really like do mission actions or like he's not very smart, but he's a killing machine.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. This is a really good model.
Yeah,
I mean,
so all of these like offensive melee buffs that you see here, do you put what Chaos Blessing are you gonna put on this guy? Do you put Khorne on him and just make him absolutely over the top, or do you put the Nurgle keyword on him to try and buff his durability? Because it's like, is there enough here when the demon takes control for him to just not even need like any sort of corn buffs, and you can just make him semi or just like really hard to kill?
yeah, I don't think he needs corn. I mean, it would be nice for the tactical ploy and like you can make him basically 4/6 on the first attack instead of
Yeah,
4/5, but
yeah.
like I don't know how much he needs it. I mean, I don't know, it's tough. Nurgle would be
Potentially
an
overkill with
option.
corn, but
Yeah. So, okay, let's go to the next guy.
yeah.
The Legionary Butcher. So, another melee guy, obviously. His weapon is the double-handed chain axe, which is 4 attacks on 4s, damage 5/7, reap 2, and it's an ability called Vicious Blows, which basically means if this operative is the attacker when it fights in combat, it gets ceaseless, which helps with the 4 up to hit for sure. But if it charged this activation, it gets relentless. So that basically kind
Ooh.
of erases the negative of hitting on 4s. I mean, outside of that, he's got an ability called Devastating Onslaught. So when he fights in combat, enemy operatives within engagement range of it cannot provide combat support, which is nice.
Yep.
And basically, any model that moves around him, they can't go within 2 inches of him. Like, kind of like
Oh
how you can't
wow.
normally move within 1 inch of a model.
Right.
You can't move within 2 inches of this guy. You can't dash, fall back, or move. So he's kind of just in the way.
Yeah, he's a really good move blocker.
Yeah, interesting model.
Yeah.
He definitely has the potential to be weaker if he gets charged, because then he's just 4 attacks on 4s.
Yeah, he is all attack, no defense. Unless of
Yeah.
course you make him Nurgle.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
uh,
Do you want to look at the Shrive Talon?
yeah, so the Legionary Shrive Talon has got just a bolt pistol, the basic Chaos Space Marine stats, and then we've got the Flensing Blades, which have 5 attacks, hitting on 3s, damage 3/5, and lethal 5 up. That's always nice. He's got for abilities, obviously he has the Chaos Blessing, Vicious Reflexes. Each time this operative fights in combat in the resolved successful hit step of that combat, if you are the defender, then you start instead of the attacker when resolving successful hits. Okay.
Hmm.
We've got Horrifying Dismemberment. Each time this operative fights in combat, if it incapacitates an enemy operative, select one enemy operative within 3 inches of it, subtract 1 from that enemy operative's APL. I think that's a little underwhelming, especially with the 3-inch like aura basically going on here.
Yeah,
Um,
Vicious Reflexes looks awesome though.
yeah,
Like, when do you fight that guy?
yeah, exactly. You just don't ever want to.
Yeah. Uh,
Uh, for the unique actions on him, we have got Grizzly Mark. So for 2 AP, place a Grizzly Mark token within an inch of this operative. This operative can only perform this action once and cannot perform this action if it is within engagement range of an enemy operative. Each time an enemy operative would perform a mission action or the pickup action, if that enemy operative is within 3 inches of your Grizzly Mark token, 1 additional action point must be subtracted to perform that action. I, wow, there's a
oof.
lot. This is like this is dense, and I don't know how
Yeah.
good it's gonna be. It's like, okay, I put area denial on a guy who I don't ever want to not be in combat, who has only 3 APL. Like, anyway, the second part of it is when determining control of the objective marker that Grizzly Mark token is within 3 inches of, treat enemy operative's total APL as being 1 less. Note that this is not a modifier. Okay.
So my thought on this immediately was like, say you're playing on domination, and this guy puts the Grizzly Mark token on the middle point.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's 2 APL to capture that for
Right.
the opponent.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty good.
I think that's good. Yeah. In that single niche instance, yes. Any other time,
Yeah.
I feel like it might be questionable.
Yeah, I think if you can like move and place it safely on like an early turn, then
Yeah.
yeah. But outside of that, I think you need to be doing stuff with your models each turn. So I mean, this might be the first guy that I've seen where you would maybe want to take Slaanesh on him because you want to get him up the board faster and drop that token.
Oh, true. Yeah.
So I guess let's go to the Icon Bearer. This is the exact same as the Heretic one, except instead of the unique action, uh, where he raises the banner and gets like a buff, he has the Favor to the Dark Gods ability. So whatever mark he has, you can do that strategic play or a strategic play of that mark for free. That would be the reason you would take an Icon Bearer, is because he is one of the models, presumably one of the few models that can actually do that.
So the next guy we got here is the Legionary Bailfire Acolyte. This is definitely the coolest model in the box, at least aesthetics wise. He is armed with a tainted bolt pistol, which is slightly different than a bolt pistol. It has 4 attacks, hitting on 3s, damage 3, 4, range 6, and it has balanced. And he also is armed with the Fell Dagger, which has 5 attacks, hitting on 3s, damage 3, 4, and has demonic energies. So, demonic energies, each time this operative fights in combat in the roll attack dice step of combat, each time you retain a critical hit, the target suffers 2 mortal wounds.
Ooh, I like that a lot. So I
Yeah,
mean, basically, his melee is like 3/7, kind of.
yeah.
Except it's when you retain, so it's actually even better than that, and like effectively.
The other ability he has is Hatred of Sorcery. Obviously, you can't put Khorne. You can't put the Khorne mark on this guy because he's a sorcerer, and Khorne does not like magic. For the unique actions for this model, he has Manifest Psychic Power for 1 AP. It resolve a
Oh,
Legionary Psychic Power as specified on page 38 of this book. This
I've
op-
got the psychic powers pulled up, by the way. If we want to go over them really quick, there's only 3.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So the first one is Fire Blast. So this is basically it's 4 shots on 3s, 3, 4. It has no cover, blast 2, of course, and it has splash 1. So it's just like your kind of standard blast weapon, except it also has splash. So that's pretty interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So if you crit, not only are you shooting the guys within 2 inches of you already, but you're going to be doing mortal wounds to them before you even get to them. So a lot of potential damage there. And then he has Malign Influence. So you select one friendly Legionary operative visible to him. And until the end of the turning point, the weapons that they have get the Lethal 5, No Cover, and Brutal special rules. So this is going to affect. He can buff either ranged or melee guys. So, like, obviously, Brutal is not like you can't use that on a ranged weapon. I think it only works for melee, and same for how like no cover. There's nothing like that for melee, but lethal 5 will help for both for sure. So pretty interesting, pretty good buff power.
Yeah.
And then the last one is a shooting attack called Life Siphon.
Ooh.
It's 5 shots on 3s, damage 3/3, with the Siphon Life Force ability, which basically means each time a friendly operative makes a shooting attack with this weapon and the resolve successful hit step of that shooting attack, if you resolve 2 or more attack dice, you can select one friendly legionary within 6 inches of the target to regain D3 lost wounds. So it's like an attack that also heals nearby
Yeah.
friendly models to the target. And that's it. Oh, and if he wants to use a power twice, like if he wants to resolve a second psychic power, he rolls a d6. And if he rolls a 3 up, he can do another one. But if he rolls a 1 or 2, he suffers 3 mortal wounds. So,
Okay. Yeah.
pretty interesting model.
Yeah. I like this guy.
And then next up is the first of the 2 leader options. So, this is the Legionary Chosen. He can take a plasma pistol, except he hits on 3s, unlike most leaders. Or he can take a tainted bolt pistol. And his melee weapon is the Demon Blade. So it's 5 attacks. It's basically a power weapon, except instead of damage 4/6, it's 4/7. Other than that, it's the exact same as a power weapon. And he has the Demonic Aura ability. So whenever you fall back from this guy, whenever an enemy falls back from the sky, you remove or you reduce the distance that they can move by 2 circle to a minimum of 1 circle if they're a slow model. So that's interesting. And then he has the Soul Feast ability. If he inflicts any critical damage in combat, in the resolve successful hit step, he regains 2 lost wounds. So this guy is pretty good right off the bat.
Yeah, I'm really liking him.
I don't love that his plasma pistol hits on 3s, but let's take a look at the aspiring champ, I guess.
Yeah, so the aspiring champ, his plasma pistol hits on 2s. Everything he has hits on 2s, but he has something new here that differentiates him from the the regular Chaos Space Marine aspiring champion. In terms of weapons, at least, he has the tainted bolt pistol. Forget about it. You're never going to take it over the plasma pistol. And then he also has the tainted chainsword. So the tainted chainsword has 5 attacks, hits on 2s, damage 4 or 5, and it has the parry hook special rule. So each time a friendly operative fights in combat with this weapon, in the resolve successful hit step of that combat, each time you parry with a normal hit, you can select one of your opponent's critical hits to be discarded instead. That's funny to me. It's just, oh, you rolled a crit, forget about it.
It's like the
I don't.
inverse of brutal, kind
Yeah,
of.
yeah, exactly. He also has the Power Maul. I think that's a new weapon to him. So this is 5 attacks, hitting on 2s, damage 4, 6 with stun. Stun is pretty good. For the other abilities he also has Favorite of the Dark Gods. He obviously has a Chaos Mark. And then he has In the Eyes of the Gods. So once per turning point, when this operative incapacitates an enemy operative, you can add 1 to this operative's APL. Because it's just, if he fights, if he kills somebody in combat, if there's a model within 6 inches of him, that's a free plasma pistol shot you're getting.
So technically, that's what it sounds like it should be. But because of the new FAQ, what it actually is you get an extra APL, but since you're already mid activation, it doesn't give you another action. It just your model counts as 4 APL for like objectives and stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, which is a shame.
Something to watch out for, I guess.
And obviously, like you said, both of the leader options have the Favor to the Dark Gods ability as well, kind of like the Icon Bearer. So, I mean, there's so many ways to build this team. I'm not going to sit here and like pretend like I have the slightest idea on what the most optimal build is right off the bat. People are going to be debating what the best way to play this team is for a long time, I
Yeah.
think. I guess we could take a quick look at their equipment and then start to wrap this up. So, they can take the first, right at the top, 3 equipment points, aggression stimulants, and this can be taken a maximum of once. So, with aggression stimulants, the operative gains the following ability for the battle. Each time this operative fights in combat and the roll attack dice step of that combat, if this operative performed a charge action during this turning point, you can reroll 1 of your attack dice. This is 3 points. This is the exact same thing as the brass horns that Chaos Demons get, except for Chaos Demons, it's only 1 equipment point. And then they have frag and crack grenades. We know how good those are.
Yep.
Warded armor, you basically give a guy a 2-up save instead of a 3-up save. But the second he takes damage, he goes back to having a 3-up save.
Next we have the Suspensor system for 3 equipment points. Obviously, you're going to want to take this on your heavy, who you're probably going to be taking every game. And then we have got the Malign Scripture here for 2 equipment points. So only the Bailfire Acolyte can take this. Once per battle, this operative can perform two manifest psychic power actions during its activation.
Oh, so that's how that would happen in the event that, like, where you roll to see if you take mortals for trying a second one. So, like, you could take this and then try to do it and then just take mortals and fail, and then your whole equipment point didn't matter. That would be depressing.
Yeah.
And then they have tainted rounds, which is new, I believe. Basically, you select a bolt gun, bolt pistol, or tainted bolt pistol, and you add 1 to both damage characteristics. So that's awesome. Like a 4/5 bolt gun. I really like that.
It looks like so this is 3 equipment points. It looks like you can only take it on a single one of those aforementioned weapons, which isn't really that big a deal.
Yeah, because
Because
how
you're
many?
only ever going to be taking like 1 bolt weapon, I feel like, or at least be like using 1 really.
Hmm.
every turn. Uh,
I would really like that on like an icon bearer with a bolt gun. If you make him like Nurgle, maybe
oh yeah.
or Tzeentch. Kind
Grizzly.
of, yeah.
We've got the Grizzly Trophy here for 3 equipment points. While this operative is visible to and within 3 inches of an enemy operative, subtract 1 from the attack's characteristic of ranged and melee weapons that enemy operative is equipped with.
It's really good.
You think it's really good?
Oh yeah, I love it. I've spoken to some heretic players that love that equipment piece. Giving yourself an extra attack is like okay, but taking an attack away from an enemy is so big.
Yeah,
If you only have 4 attacks and you go into melee with a Grizzly Trophy, now you have 3 attacks. Like there's no way you're gonna kill a Chaos Marine with 3 attacks.
yeah. I can
So
see putting this on a couple of the melee models that we've talked about earlier in this video, and
yeah.
having it be a really having that be a really good combo. Lastly, we have the Malefic Blade here for 2 equipment points. And they just get a Malefic Blade, which gives them 5 attacks, hitting on threes, damage 3/5.
So it's worse than a chainsword.
I don't
You
know
know,
if
I've
you
noticed
if you got money left over, or if you got equipment points left over, I guess give it to somebody.
maybe the gunners.
Yeah, like
Uh,
maybe the gunners, just so they get more value. They're gonna have value in shooting and like real. I hesitate to say real hitting power in melee, but that's probably where these would come in.
yeah, I
Yeah.
suppose so.
So I'm kind of underwhelmed by the equipment points here, or by the equipment here, but I think that Tainted Rounds, Grizzly Trophy, Suspenser System, and Malefic Blades are probably
Crack
the ways to
grenades.
go. Yeah, also the crack
We say
grenades
that.
we all know about.
Yeah.
Crack
It'll
grenades are
just be
good.
crack grenades every game.
Yeah, ah, probably. I don't know.
Yeah.
You'll see
Um,
one. You'll see one crack grenade over a Malefic Blade for sure.
so I mean, there's their faction Tac Ops, but like, let's not get too deep into it. This team is they're the first bespoke elite team, and I'm pretty curious to see. Like, I mean, we'll do like a more deep dive into this team in the future. I'm sure this is just kind of breaking down what they can do. So, I mean, first impressions. Do you think that this team is going to be able to like compete with like the really good teams? I mean, there's a lot here.
There is so much here that I want to say that I mean they'll be better than like any of the other elite teams, right? So that's got to put them at least high B or potentially even A. So I think they can compete. My only worry is it's still 6 models. So like this is kind of gonna show us once this team comes out and we see it played in tournaments, like can a 6 model kill team really hope to compete against like I don't know, like the Corsairs with 9 models, the Harlequins, and the, just like Vetguard. Like Vetguard has 14 bodies. Do they really stand a chance against 14
Yeah,
bodies? I don't know.
I hope so.
I hope so too. Yeah, because right now this game is just dominated by shooty hordes. But anyway, let's get into the Tac Ops here.
The first one is sacrilegious mutilation. Basically, when you kill a model, you place a uh, corpse enemy corpse token underneath their like as close to the center of their base. Interesting. And then you can do a 1 AP action if you're within an inch of the corpse token. As long as you're not within 2 inches of an enemy operative, and you remove the corpse token. And the second time you do this, you get 1 point, and the fourth time you do this, you get another point. I mean, that's
You got to do this 4 times.
4 times. Yeah.
Um,
I guess that's where the extra APL could go.
yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. I'm like, oh, but this team was cool with all those extra APL you could get. I guess it could probably work.
Maybe. Dark Desecration is the other one. Basically, you reveal it in the target reveal step of the first turning point. You select a heavy terrain feature. And then if you kill 2 or more enemy operatives within 1 inch of that terrain feature, you score a point. And if you do that, and then the total APL at the end of the game of friendly operatives within an inch of it is greater than enemy operatives, you score 1 VP again. So kind of like seize ground, but you got to kill guys within an inch of it and then hold it at the end.
Yeah,
Kind of interesting. It
y-
depends on how like if there's a huge drain piece by your opponent's DZ, I guess.
yeah, I am liking this a lot more than sacrilegious mutilation because it seems like that's what these guys want to do. They want to get in your face, they want to kill you, and then they just want to win the game I I don't know. This is definitely like achieve objective 1 in order to get a point, and then you're gonna get objective 2 if you're winning the game. So
Right.
it's kind of like a win more thing.
A little bit, yeah.
So lastly, we have Savage Butcher. You can reveal this Tac Op in the target reveal step of any turning point. Select one friendly operative. If 2 or more enemy operatives are incapacitated in combat by that friendly operative, you score 1 VP. And if 3 or more enemy operatives are incapacitated in combat by that friendly operative, you score another VP. I think this is probably my favorite of the 3. It puts a target on a single model's back for sure, but you just got to kill 3 models with him. And I'm thinking of that of the possessed guy when the
The
demon takes
demon.
yeah, when the demon takes control. I'm thinking of putting
Yeah,
it on this guy and then just letting him go to town, just do what he wants to do.
I think so. Yeah,
Yeah.
that would be the best choice for this. If I had to guess. I mean, it does have to be in melee combat, so he would definitely be good at that. It's too bad you can't do it with like a pistol or like, within 6 inches. But yeah, if I had to pick a guy, the Anointed, I think his name is, would be the way to go.
Let the demon take control. And
So yeah, I think that about wraps up the Legionary kill team here. This is the first elite team, elite bespoke team, first real elite team. Let's be honest.
yeah,
Um, in the new edition, really excited to see how it does. For those of you listening, if you're not subscribed and you stumbled upon this video, give us a subscribe if you enjoyed it, and catch up on more kill team content. And if you're already subscribed, uh, maybe give our Patreon a consideration. And as always, a big thank you to our patrons who help keep this channel alive. This is Command Point with the Legionary Kill Team reveal, signing off.